Okay, guys, are you ready? Module 14. We only have this module and one more module left to finish out this biology book. Can you believe it? We're already there. And what's really exciting is that after we get back from spring break, we're going to do the rest of this module. It's going to be a lot of fun. And then we're going to do the next module. And then we're going to do some labs 3 weeks in a row. We're really going to hit some hard labs. And that's going to be so much fun. I'm so excited. I decided because we're taking 3 weeks to just focus on the lab material, I'm going to throw some extra stuff in. So be a lot of fun. Okay, Rudder Slap Module 14, page 429. Okay, now this, it's going to be really important that you read this information, that you listen to the video that I'm sending you now. And I've even got some things to show you that I picked out of my own yard just yesterday, and I wish I'd have done it today. I was going to shoot a video yesterday, and my husband is sick, and so lots of goo. As soon as we got better, I got bronchitis and a sinus infection. My husband got pneumonia. One of my kids got croup, and then the rest of them had a cold. So I tell you what, we've had a booger of a time. So yesterday my husband was feeling really bad, so I kind of babied him for a day. Well, I babied him for about a week, but you know how it goes. Okay, today we're starting on Kingdom Plantae. Botany, that's your first vocabulary word there. Y'all, my dog's gonna bark again. I'm so sorry. We've got kids over playing with my children, and she wants to go outside and play with them so bad. Come here, baby. Come here. Come here. You can come up here and sit with me. Okay, I'm going to miss not having her in class. Botany. Botany is the study of plants. There she is. There she's there, baby. Botany is the study of plants. Basic plant anatomy. Y'all, honestly, I think you're going to find that this module is pretty easy for you. There are two kinds. They are woody and herbaceous. Woody is wood. It's like woody looking stems. And then you have soft stems, like on a tulip or I don't know, what kind of flowers are there? Don't start that. But it's like a green part of a stem, but then there's woody that it looks like wood. I mean, it's part of the plant, like a tree has that wood part to it. Got it? I mean, really, it's not hard to know. Okay, now she's going to be a baby. Now she's going to be a baby. She's going to need some attention because the kids are playing and I won't let her play. So, first, there are plants called perennials, and they are plants that grow year after year. Okay, I've got this monkey grass in my front yard. Bronchitis. Sorry. And in my front yard is this big full monkey grass. It just looks like this big sprouting grass. And in about June, it gets these big, pretty purple stemmed flowers in it. It's really cool. But I don't do anything to them. I leave them alone. About, I guess, late March, when everything starts to really bloom, I have one of my kids go take some hedge shears, cut them all the way back, and they get even bigger. I don't have to replant them. I don't have to water them. I don't do anything. Those are perennials. They just keep coming back year after year after year. Then you have annual plants. Those are ones that live for 1 year, and that's it. Those are things like petunias that you see in the summer, and, well, some mums. Mums are supposed to come back, but I've never had any do that. Then you've got biennial plants, plants that live for 2 years. Let me just say this. I do not have a green thumb. I love to look at plants. I love to study them. I think they're super cool. Flowers, plants, greenery, but I kill everything I touch. You know, I'm horrible. I kill everything I touch. And then we have either inside the plant, you have either vegetative organs or reproductive organs. The vegetative organ, look at the very bottom of the page, is the part of the plant like the stem, the root, and the leaves. They are not involved in reproduction. And then you have the reproductive organs in the plant, and they're the part of the plant, like the flower, the fruit, and the seeds, that do have to do with reproduction, okay? She's a sweet girl. She's a pretty girl. Oh, she hears them. They're not supposed to play in the front yard. Now, plants have, JC, plants have 4 different kinds of tissues. Yeah, get that. Plants have tissues. Plants have 4 different types of tissues. They're meristematic, ground tissue, dermal tissue. What's dermal sound like? Sounds like skin. And vascular tissue. That's like the blood and veins, right? So let's see. Your plants bleed. Let's see how this goes. Okay. With those different kinds of tissues, the meristematic tissue contains cells that are called undifferentiated. Undifferentiated cells are cells that have not specified any particular function. So that means that they can kind of adapt to different functions within the flower. They don't have a specific job. Ground tissue is the most common type in a plant. Some of them provide storage for starches and oils, and others are involved in metabolism. Please forgive me. I sit here and start getting hot, and that's it. Okay. Dermal tissue is made out of a single layer of cells. Dermal tissue is often found in the peels and the skin, if you will. I mean, your peaches, pears, apples, bananas. The dermal tissue is that outer part, like your skin. Vascular tissue is not present in all plants. Vascular tissue, however, the majority of plants have vascular tissue. It's not present in all plants. Vascular tissue transports water and nutrients through the plant, and it is like veins. I'm gonna have to get something hot to drink, so I'm gonna pause it real quick. Okay, now hopefully I got myself some hot tea, so maybe I'll do better this time. Okay, so where were we? As part of the vascular system, there are 2 main areas. It's the xylem and the phloem. Now, I think this is kind of cool. Look at the vocabulary at the bottom of page 430. Xylem is the non-living vascular tissue that carries water and dissolves minerals from the roots of a plant to its leaves. So there's minerals and stuff that come up through the roots, through the root system. It has so much water in it that it breaks up those minerals so that they can be shifted out into the other parts of the plant, like to its leaves and its stems. Pretty cool. Then you have the phloem. Phloem is alive. Phloem is a living vascular tissue that carries sugar and organic substances throughout the plant. So the xylem is non-living tissue that carries water and minerals. Then the phloem, it flows sugar and organic substances. So maybe think of it that way. It's spelled with a PHL, not an FL, so But if you can think of it that way, maybe you'll know which one it is. Okay. Let's see now. This is my favorite part. Hi, Annie. Can you say hello to my class?
Hello.
Do you hear her say hello? Okay. Over here it says the macroscopic structure of a leaf. Now remember, macroscopic is big. It means the stuff that we can see with our eyes. That's good. It's chatty. I made myself some chai tea. Because I need some tea. It's lovely. I could use it a little stronger though, too. Okay, let's look at these pictures of the leaf. Down here at the bottom, you see what are called stipules. On the right-hand side, you'll see a petiole, a blade, and an apex. The primary portion of the leaf, like the flat part of the leaf, is called the blade. The very tip of the blade, the very end of it, like the furthest point from the stem, is the apex. The blade is attached to the stem by a small stalk, I can't read, called the petiole. At the base of the petiole, most plants have stipules. So, these small stalk-like or leaf-like growths are usually the structure that covers the leaf when it first begins to grow. So, out of that stem will come, when a leaf starts to grow, you're going to notice, oh, I wish I had some from outside. I bet you'll get some in the next few weeks and the next days. But right at the very base where that leaf is starting to grow, it's covered like this. And then as it starts to grow, it'll open up and the leaf will come out from the inside of it. That's super cool. Turn to page 432, okay? First, we're going to look at the different kinds of leaves. We're going to be looking at their shapes, the way that they surround the stem. We're going to look at how they lay on a stem. That's really important as well. We're going to look at the outside edges and its veins. This is like one of my favorite parts, and I think it's a lot of fun. And I've got some samples for you too, because like I said, I went through my yard yesterday. I went on a little nature hunt through my yard, and boy, the things I saw. On my nature hunt, I saw a empty can of Vienna sausages hanging in a tree. My children like those things, and I don't know why they had one in a tree. But I guess they could be doing other things, right? So, let's look on page 432. This is fun. On the left-hand side of the page, you're going to see a simple leaf. A simple leaf is basically just where you have one little stem and one leaf attached to it. Here's an example of a simple leaf. Okay, this is an ivy leaf, and see how it's just attached right here. There's nothing else in between. Okay, next you're going to have a compound leaf. That means that the petiole has more than one leaf on it. So look here on the left hand again, the simple, you've got your stem, and off of it is the petiole, okay? The stem looks like this, and the petiole comes off of it. That's how it is, all right? So with a compound leaf, it's going to look more, these have dried out a little bit. It's going to look more like this. Look here. Look how cool that is. So this, the stem would be like this part right here, and then this petiole has more than one thing growing on it. That is called a compound leaf. It means it has many leaves on one petiole. I'm going to need this back again here in a second. Okay. Next, we have the three main leaf mosaics. That is how the leaf is arranged on the stem. Pretty cool. So here we go. First is the alternate. The leaves stick out like let's say that's my stem. I'm using different kinds of leaves. But see how this leaf will go this way, and then a little bit further down, this leaf will go this way, and they're not uniform. It would be like staggered. Staggered is the word I'm looking for. It'll be off here, a leaf here, a leaf here, a leaf here, a leaf here. They're staggered. You can see that in your picture. Then we have opposite leaves. The opposite leaves, you can find a lot of these around vines. Opposite leaves is where the leaf is they connect here at the stem. So you'll have a leaf equally on both sides of the stem. Let me do it like that. There'll be leaves equally on both sides of the stem. Then we have whorled. Now, this one that I showed you, it's kind of dried up because, like I said, I did it yesterday. This is an example of a whorled leaf. Let's see if I can get it up close. See how it's not just, it's growing all the way around that stem. See it? It's not just going, it's not even where there's one here, one here, one here, one here. It's not staggered where there is one, 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 one. It's not like that. This one, they're wrapped all the way around. You can even see in that little center part there how it's wrapped all the way around. How cool is that? That is a whorled. Another example of a whorled is creeping Virginia. Those are some ones that are out there, so pretty cool. Now we're going to talk about a really cool part too. There are a lot of these, and so I need for you to pay really close attention as we're going over it because I want you to be able to understand the differences, okay? First is a linear leaf. Linear is about the same width from the bottom to the top. I brought a piece of my monkey grass. Linear. This is the same length, the same width across. If I took these two, look here. Oh, I'm not in good camera. If I took these two, you can see they're about the same width. This is linear. I'm going to show you, see if you can see them. See how the lines go up and down? All of the lines are parallel to each other. There you go, that's a good one. This is a linear leaf. Grass is a linear leaf. This is called monkey grass. It's really a plant, not really it is a grass, but it has a linear, straight up and down Venetian. It's got that kind of veins, and it's long. It tends to be about 4 times longer than it is wide on its smallest flower. Next is the elliptical. No, that's not elliptical. It has an edge. Let me see if I grabbed an elliptical. I think I did. Here's one. Okay, this one was kind of dead too. It was on an older bush, and like I said, I got it yesterday. I'm trying to flatten it out a little bit with my fingers. Okay, this one is torn too. So, but the shape of it is elliptical. It has a smooth outside edge. And normally, let's hold it by that side, and we'll make it look whole. There we go. This is elliptical. Elliptical tapers at both ends, like an ellipse. Y'all ever been on an elliptical machine? An elliptical machine does not go in complete circles like this, perfect circles. Instead, it goes like this, and that's what it is. It's like an oblong shape that is equal at each end. Now, I do not have one of these. This is an oval shape. Now, notice that it's kind of wide on the bottom and it points at the top. Oval, if that sounds familiar, is also like ovum, which means egg. So really the oval shape is an egg-shaped leaf. Now look over to that deltoid leaf. The deltoid leaf, a deltoid, delta, y'all learn, I guess, later on if you don't know it already, is represented as a triangle. Is that a good triangle? Yeah. So it's represented as a triangle. So delta means that this shape of the leaf is made like a triangle. The deltoid muscle in your arm up here, see, it looks rounded, but it's really made like this. It's made like an upside down triangle. Practical. Okay. See, look at the deltoid again. It is triangular, it's more flat across the bottom and points at the top. Delta means triangle, okay? Next is chordate. That might sound familiar too. Chord? Nope, put that back. I need that there. Chordate is having to do with the heart. So look at it. It looks like an upside down heart. Chordate means heart shaped. So this looks like a little upside down heart. The difference between the deltoid and the chordate is that at the very bottom of the chordate, it'll go down. It's not flat like the triangle delta. Instead, it goes down and up. If you flip it upside down, it looks like a heart. The next one is called an orbicular. Orbicular, orb, kind of describes what it is. Orb is circles, okay? So anything that's an orb is round. One of my examples here is, oh, it's dried. It dried too much, I think. Come on, babe. Yeah, this one dried too much. There is a flower. I mean, it's really a weed out in your yard, and if you look closely around the edges of your property, around the edges of your house, you might see them. This one, it has broken right here at the base because normally this is very round. It has a very round shape. Like I said, it's missing these little sections right here because it broke. But this is a really, really cool little leaf to look at. We'll look at it again here in a minute when we're talking about margins. But this, when it's just outside, is a good example of an, oh, wait a minute. It's a good example of an orbicular flower. I have, let's see here. Yes, I do. Look at this. I'm peeling one off that's really soft. This is an example. I'm going to flatten it out a little bit. You have to be kind of careful with leaves, you know. This is an example of the chordate. Now, see at the very top how it's indented and it comes around? See how that looks like a heart? You can see it on my white skin. There it is. See how it looks like a heart at the top? That's a good look for me. Okay. So that was an example of the chordate from before. Next, we have a lobed. Hey, somebody run out there and get me one of those oak leaves. See if you can find one that looks kind of flat. Oak. That tree in our front yard is an oak tree. We're going to get an example of that if we can find a flat one. The cool thing about oak trees is they hold on to their leaves till right before they grow new ones. They don't lose all of their leaves like the maple trees and some of the other sapling trees. So they don't lose a lot of their leaves like the others do. And it'll hold on to those dead leaves until the new one spurts up. We have a lot of dead spaces in this oak tree because around August, yeah, it's around August, like right before fall. She's out there trying to catch some leaves. It's funny. But right around the end of August or 1st of September, we get these things called yellow striped oak worms. And basically, thank you, sweet girl. It doesn't look like what I hoped it would, but it's good. This one will work. Actually, this is it, yes. So the yellow striped oak worm only goes to specific kinds of oak trees, and my oak trees are that specific kind, and they look like little caterpillars. They are caterpillars, but they don't just get on your tree like 4 or 5. They will consume your all the leaves on your trees if they're untreated, and they will devour an entire oak tree. Well, they're gross. I mean, and there's a lot of them. Are there not like a ton of them? There's like hundreds on each little section. The whole part of the wood is covered with these oak worms. And the thing is, they, as soon as the leaves grow out, its larvae will get up underneath it. And it'll grow those caterpillars. It's crazy. It's gross. But so every year we've had an exterminator come out and spray for those worms. And then, so I called the University of Tennessee Agricultural Department, and I said, you know what? I really hate spraying my beautiful oak trees, because we have some really nice oak trees. We've got 3 good sized ones. And so I told him that I hated to spray our trees with it. And he said, at the UT Ag, he said that he recommends that we don't do anything. Let the oak worm eat the leaves, because first, it's close to fall. And so they will clean the leaves off so that the tree will actually not hang on to its leaves, because all the leaves have been eaten, and it'll give it a better growth cycle. Also, there are predators that will eat these. Possums, squirrels, birds will eat those worms. And the worms tend to come in 4-year cycles. So they'll come for 4 years, and at the end of that 4 years, they'll disappear for 4 years. And then they'll come back for 4 years and disappear for 4 years. So when they come back this year, it'll be year 4 for us having them in these trees. So it's kind of interesting. I know she likes to be on camera. She likes to be on camera, doesn't she? Yeah, she does. Yeah, she does. So she has a clean tongue. She doesn't lick her butt. Yes, she does. So anyway, they're all going, we have a butt-licking dog. So anyway, that's what's really cool about oak trees, is that when we have some things that kind of invade, sometimes it's not a bad thing, like with a typical pest. God designed it so that the birds could eat, that the little possums could eat, that the little squirrels could eat. I mean, all the little things that want to eat those caterpillars, they're there for them to eat, and for those caterpillars to clean the tree up right before the leaves would typically fall off anyway. Pretty interesting. And we're also going to learn about that, so that's kind of cool. She just brought me this one. This is from one of my oak trees. Stop. This is a lobed leaf. Look at your picture here. The dog wants to look at the picture. Stop, JC. Stop, little girl. See how in these, there's these big indentions here? See those great big indentions? Well, that is a lobe. It is very different from the one next to it, although sometimes you can get pretty confused. It's round and flat, but joined on the inside here. See how these are round? These are typically flat leaves, but they have the big deep indentions. That's your word there, your deep indention, okay? Next you have a cleft. Let me see if this one is a good cleft. No. This is a cleft. This is like a maple leaf, where instead of having these big deep lobes, they're really sharp. This would be filled with leaf material, and it would cut in very sharp, just like in the picture. that's really the biggest thing that I have to say. It's split almost in two because of the way that the cleft angles in. Okay. Next, they're needle-like, like pine needles. The pine needles are still considered leaves. So that's pretty cool. But needle-like is needle type of leaves. Next and last is your scale-like. I've got one of those. This is off of a small cedar tree that my husband thought he killed, but he has not. These kind of look like scales. I'm going to put it in kind of close where you can, it's kind of blurry. I wish you could see these really well. They kind of look like scales. They overlap, like at the leaf base, they overlap one another. And even though they've still got these little parts that stick out here, this is new growth. I broke new growth off a tree we thought was dead. But I had to teach class, y'all. So these are scaled. As they start to grow, before they feather out like this, they look like scales on a snake. They're really kind of cool. Now let's look at leaf margins on page 434. Now, these different kinds, I think I have almost every kind that we have here. I think. So that's fun. The first kind is called an entire leaf. This is an entire margin to the leaf. It's smooth. It's smooth. It has no teeth. It's smooth around the edges. You can feel it with your finger. It's all smooth. All the edges are smooth. This is an entire margin. The next one is called serrated. And let's see. I don't know if I could see it close enough. Hang on. Because this one is serrated, but they've gone in a little bit. Let's see if you can see the edge of that. Maybe not. This is actually a serrated. Oops, let me get it up there. See if I got it closer, if that may know. You can just barely see around the edge. It looks like a serrated knife. You know, the kind of knife that you use to cut a steak. That's what that edge is. This is a serrated edge. It just looks, if you look at it in person, it's got little tiny cuts all through it. Man, I wish I could, oh, wait a minute. Maybe I'm not turning it well. There you go. Can you see those little tiny edges there? That's cool. Okay. That's a serrated edge. Now we have a dentate edge. What does dentate sound like? That's because these look like teeth. Okay? That is an example. See how they're not as fine as the serrated edge, but you can see how they have a little sharp edge at the end of every one of those. See that? That is called dentate. Now back to this little flower that I wish I had more of. This is called crenate. I'm going to try to flatten it a little bit without breaking it, because it's so pretty. And like I said, it's a weed. Okay. That is a crenate edge. See how it's scalloped? It just looks like little curly cues. There's boop, 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 boop all around the edges. Y'all need my sound effects, don't you? But see, there we go. That's a better view. But you can see how it's rounded around the edges. Just like this one here. Rounded teeth and a round scalloped edge. The next is a wavy edge, and I don't have a wavy edge, but these are really pretty. They may be, it's called an undulated. Undulate means wavy. Undulate means wavy. So, undulated is that wavy edge, and This one is dried, so it's not really an undulated, but it kind of looks like that. See how the edge has waved just a little bit? Well, if it was hanging on the plant right now, it would have a little ruffled edge to it. They're very pretty, but I didn't have any in the yard, at least not yet. Let's see, next we have venation. First is the parallel. I showed you this a little bit earlier, but this is parallel venation. Wish I had a better view. That's pretty good. Can you see the lines? Yeah, there you go. See the lines going up and down? They're parallel. That is a parallel venation to a leaf. Its veins go up and down, parallel. Next is pinnate. Ooh, this one is perfect example of pinnate. Do you see in these veins how the veins go this way and this way, this way and this way? Can you see where they're kind of equal on both sides? That is a pinnate venation. The next, I'm getting my big one here because you can see it, it's still soft. It's because you can't kill this stuff. It's ivy. Lord knows you can't kill it. This is called a palmate because it looks like a palm, the way that the veins go out. Look at that. See all of this, these veiny areas in here? See how they just spread out? It's almost spider-like, isn't it? Look at that. How cool is that? That's a palmate. And I wanted to show you this one too. Because actually on a good day, you might see an undulated from a holly leaf. The holly leaf is also, I'm trying to look. My dog just dropped all her toys. This one as well is the pinnate. It's equal on both sides. I don't know if you can even see it. Yeah, because they're hard to see. Okay, so that's it on this section here. We're not finished, okay? So, you know, don't get all excited that we have finished here. But what I just went over is so important, okay? Because we are going to be doing a leaf collection. Yes, a leaf collection. It will be due March 29th, I had to think. It'll be due March 29th. Between today, which is March 1st, next week we're on spring break. The week after that, we're on spring break. The week after that, we're back in class on the 22nd. We're going to finish out this module. But it is so important that you go ahead and start on your leaf project as soon as you can, because this is not your Memo's 4th grade leaf project, okay? I want you to give me your very best work. And I have had kids call me. I've given them 2 and 3 weeks. And they have called me literally 11 o'clock the night before and say, how many leaves am I supposed to have? If you can imagine, I about lost my stuff. So we're not happy with that. So it's really important that you actually do the work, that you do what you're supposed to do. Y'all are big kids. You're high school. You're almost finished with your first, if you're in 9th grade, you're almost finished with your first year of high school. Things are a little bit different. They're a little bit harder. And I expect to see high school level work, not 4th grade level work. And at the very end of this, we're going to go over exactly what I want from you, okay? So, let's see. That's all for that section. Let's flip on over, and we're going to start talking about the microscopic structure of a leaf. This is a beautiful picture through a microscope to look at this, at what a leaf looks like. First, on the very top, left, you'll see photosynthesis cells. These are the cells on the very top that help convert all of these nutrients and sugars into energy for the leaf, and also gives it some of its pretty green color. Next is palisade mesophyll. That palisade means iron railing. That's what a palisade is. Look at that. Look what it's pointing to. Doesn't that look like iron railing? That's why they named it that. It's the middle part of the leaf. Mesophyll means middle part. Then you have spongy mesophyll. Look at that. It looks like a sponge. Then on the other side, you have the epidermis. The epidermis is the outermost layer. Now look here on the bottom left and the upper hand right, it's the same thing, because this same edge is going to be just like this edge, okay? All the way around, this outermost part is going to be the epidermis. Now go on over to the right-hand side, starting at the top with epidermis, and look at the veins. Look at the veins of this leaf. There is xylem, phloem, and collenchyma. Now, let's see. I lost my place. The collenchyma. The veins that you see running through the leaf are made up of the three tissues. These tissues come in the two types, the xylem and the phloem, and another one called collenchyma. The collenchyma is made up of thick-walled cells that support the vein. It's very important that they're there because they are what, okay, you know how you have veins and from the outside of your skin, sometimes you can feel them. Sometimes they'll pop up here, out here. Well, that's kind of what the collenchyma helps give it strength to give the vein some structure. So, towards the end of the leaf, the veins will go so small that there is no collenchyma anymore. But you can see in this picture, you've got all of these different kinds of cells. Remember, the xylem is non-living tissue. That non-living tissue transports water and minerals from the roots, okay? The phloem flows living tissue with sugars and other nutrients. And then the collenchyma is that material that gives the veins some structure. It helps keep them strong so that these nutrients, waters, and sugars can all flow through the veiny parts of the leaf. Let's see. Now let's go to page 438 at the very bottom. Leaf color. This is amazing. Okay, well, the chlorophyll in the chloroplasts give leaf their color. So once it goes through the photosynthesis, and the chlorophyll and the chloroplast work together to make these leaves green. Many leaves have a much darker green top than on the underside. Let's fold that over. See the difference? They're darker on the top than the underside. This is because the top of the leaf has the palisade mesophyll. Remember, that's the ones that stack up and look like an iron fence. And that's where the chlorophyll containing cells are packed very tightly together. The underside of the leaf contains the spongy mesophyll, where the chlorophyll containing cells can't get so tight. How cool is that? You've got your iron gate on this side, iron fence, and on this side, you have a different kind of cell where they're not packed as closely together. So that's why this is so dark green and this is a lighter green. Okay. Chlorophyll is a pigment. Pigment means a part of something that gives it color. If you're going looking for paints, you want to make sure that it has a clear pigment. Girls, if you are a makeup wearer, this is really funny because some makeup, as it's in the tray, like lipstick or eyeshadow or whatever, it looks like it's pink, but when you put it on, it's this funky shade of goo, and because its pigment is not the same spread as it is compact. Compact is darker, non-compact makes it look funky, okay? The pigment, the chlorophyll, is what gives it its pretty green color. But although its real job in the leaf is to absorb sunlight from photosynthesis. Now, the carotenoids are typically orange or yellow inside of the leaf. Carotenoids. Some plants contain a group of pigments called carotenoids. And you know those carotenoids when you see them because they are yellow or orange. The orange is the color of pumpkins and carrots. That's where carrots get their name, is from carotenoids. The yellow in yellow is what makes peas and corn that pretty yellow. But let me tell you something about the leaves that are on the trees. Once fall starts to come in, the cooler air starts to come in, it starts getting, the sun starts to set earlier in the day, so our plants don't have as much light as they normally would. So in the summer, 7 o'clock in the morning it's sunshiny, and 9 o'clock at night sometimes the sun can still be out. So all these plants have had 14 hours of light. But in the winter, the sun will go down at about 5 o'clock and the sun doesn't come up till close to 8. So if it's 8 o'clock to 5 o'clock, that's 9 hours. That's 3/4 of the time that it would have in the spring or summer. So that's the cool part. The really cool part about that is that once that starts to happen, the tree senses it's time to go through this cycle. And the trees, the leaves, stop absorbing some of their nutrients. There's this little tiny thing on the inside of it. Watch me. It's in here. I'm supposed to teach it, and I have forgotten the name of it. But there's this little tiny thing inside the tree that says, stop. No more fluids, no more chlorophyll making pigments. It stops the nutrition, it stops the water flow, it stops the sugar flow. And when that happens, the green pigment is not produced. So the plant, the leaves, turn into their true color. So in the fall, when you see these beautiful orange leaves, and you see gorgeous red leaves and yellow leaves, maple trees make some of the most beautiful yellow leaves. It looks like something painted. It's so beautiful. And that is the true color of the leaf without the pigmentation of the chlorophyll. How cool is that? And so right before it dies, it shows its most beautiful color, its true self. That's awesome. I think it's so cool. Now, flip on over to page 441. We're at 48 minutes, so we're getting ready to cut it off. We're going to talk about deciduous plants. Deciduous plants are plants that loses their leaves for the winter. Well, that's just what we talked about. We talked about how trees lose their leaves for the winter. And although my oak tree still has a lot of its leaves, the leaves are dead. They're hanging on just by that little edge, and that is still considered a deciduous tree, even though they are not completely fallen off. Let's see. Okay, this is really cool talking about oak trees. Turn to page 442. Some leaves do not produce pigments other than chlorophyll. As a result, when they die, they turn a nasty brown. This brown color is the result of a chemical called tannic acid. Tannic acid is one of the products of the breakdown of plant cell contents. With no pigment to mask the color of the tannic acid, the leaf is brown. So its true color is brown. It produces that nasty tannic acid. But did you also know that they used to grind up? If you go outside and you take those oak leaves and you rub them in your hands really, really good, you'll come back and your hands will have a brown hue on them. Tannic acid is used to tan a hide. Have you ever heard that? Besides your mama saying I'm going to tan your hide, because I tell my kids that all the time, I'm going to tan their hides. But back in the old days when people had to dye their leathers, a lot of people wore brown clothes, brown shoes, brown, because tannic acid dyes leathers. How cool is that? But I decided that there's Willie. Watch him move. Say hi. So while I have you, I'm going to take you out here and show you what I've been talking about this whole time, okay? Shoot, it stinks in here. Oh, stop. Let's see. Here is the tree, okay? See how it's still got its green, it's brown leaves. The brown leaves are still attached, and actually that's attached pretty decent. I can pop these off here. See how they're brown? The brown is the buildup of the tannic acid inside of them. But this is one of my oak trees. It goes way, way up. Let's see if I can get the whole thing. It's a biggie. See how at the top there's not as many leaves? Well, that's because of storms, the wind blowing, and also because of those stupid worms. So, and the bottom has more leaves. How about that? We'll walk back in here. Y'all get a good little view of my house and my stupid children.
We're not stupid, we're smart.
They stupid, them kids is.
Stupid.
Okay, I look forward to seeing y'all next time around. I will be back on the 22nd, and as you can hear, I get out of breath really easy. I'm old and I'm tired. So we will see you all on the 22nd. Oh, well, we got to talk about that plant. Okay, your plant project. Let me sit back. I'm not comfortable. Plus, who wants to see that? He's so ugly.
No, not pretty and gorgeous.
He's pretty and gorgeous, he says. Okay, your leaf project. I would like for you to go back 2 pages. Let's see. 432 through 435. 432 through 435. I want you to look at those shapes, the simple or compound, the mosaics, the shapes, the margins, and the venations, okay? I want you to find me as many examples of these leaves in your yard, in Mama's yard, in your church's yard, at the park, anywhere that there's trees. I had one kid say, I live in a brand new neighborhood and we don't have any trees. Well, you got grass, you got bushes, you have Victor Ash Park, you've got, what are some parks? Imes Nature Center. There are so many places that you can go where there are trees, but this kid was just bent that there were no trees. And so it's not just about trees, it's about leaves. Will, I need you to stop. It's about leaves. This is a leaf project. So what it might say is, the first thing you would point out, is this leaf simple or compound? Well, first thing, I want you to try to find an example of a simple and a compound. That's not going to be hard. I can go out right now in my yard and find it, okay? Alternate, opposite, and world. I have the world right here. It's a weed. What is it? What's the honeysuckle? There's honeysuckle everywhere. The honeysuckle is not out, but the leaves are, and those leaves are world, okay? So I want a simple leaf and compound leaf, and I want an alternate, an opposite, and a world. You will find those. If you look, if you wait till Sunday afternoon, the day before it's due, you're not going to find all that. You're just not. Linear, that's grass. Elliptical. Holy cow, I'm not kidding. I got this off a bush. Oval, it's out there. It's, like I said, go to a park. Look around, just go through the green and start collecting things. Deltoids, chordate. I want an example of each of these. Today, I brought you an example of almost all of them, and I took a 3 to 5 minute walk in my yard. You can do it. You can find these, and when you find them, this is what I want you, I mean, let's keep going. I don't want anybody to get confused. Look for the margins. I want one that displays an entire margin. I want a serrated margin. Dente, crenate, they're out there. You will find them if you look. And you need to look. Then I want you to find some venations. I want a parallel venation, a pinnate, and a palmate venation. So, does this mean that you need to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23? Does it mean that you need to have 23 specimens? No. It means that you need to have an example of each. Meaning, this is ivy. At the top of my lab, my paper, can somebody hand me a plain piece of paper, please? A plain piece of paper as fast as you can get it. A plain piece of paper. I'm going to drink my tea. Please. Thank you. Okay. This is what it would look like. This. Let's see. So where would we start? Is this simple or compound? Ivy. Simple leaf. Hey. Shh. Is it compound? No. So I'm not going to write compound. I'm going to write ivy. Simple leaf. Mosaic. It's not going to hold the mosaic because it's like this, okay? Mosaics are for compound leaves. Did you hear me say that? Mosaics are for compound leaves. Next, what shape is this? I'm going to say that this is lobed because look how big these are. They are big. It doesn't cut, I mean, one of the characteristics of a cleft is that it looks like it's almost split in two. They're so deep, but not this one. This one has lobes in it. So this is ivy, simple leaf, lobe shaped. Look here. It's smooth along the outside edge. Entire margin, entire or entire margin. Then you're going to write venation, palmate, because we talked about how it looks like a palm, how everything's all spread out. You can see all these little tiny veins in there, okay? So that's palmate. So on this paper, for example, it would say ivy, and then you go back. Simple leaf, lobed shape, entire margin, palmate venation. And there you have palmate checked off, entire checked off. You've got what type of leaf, simple or compound, and the name of the leaf. There's going to be a lot of these things you don't know. Like, I don't know what kind of bush this came off of. See if you can find it. See if you can Google small, that's not oval shaped, elliptical, small elliptical shaped leaf on bush in East Tennessee. Google that. See what it comes up with. This is probably some sort of box elder, okay? Because that's what we have in our yard. But it's probably some sort of box elder. And that's what you may see. This takes work. That's why you have March the 1st, week. March the 8th, week. March the 15th, week. March the 22nd, week. And it's due on the 29th. I would like every one of the shapes, okay? You will find some pine needles if you go around a pine tree. If they're not on the tree, they're going to be off the tree, but it's evergreen, so it'll be there. Scale like, I found that on cedar. It's also on, people use them for Christmas trees. Oh, it starts with an S. Can't think what it's called. Anyway, It's an evergreen tree. You'll find it. But I found it on a cedar tree that we have over yonder. So this is not hard. It just takes time to do it. Now, do you need to collect these and dry them out if you want? Sometimes they get moldy, so it's kind of gross. So here's what I suggest you do. I suggest you do your very best artwork. Draw a picture of the leaf that you found. Do your very best artwork. And on your piece of paper, oh, I'm picking up a thing that's got toilet paper on it. We've been blowing our nose a lot around here. Now, I'm not a good artist, so I'm going to show you 2 ways that you could do this. Here's my leaf. I'm going to put my leaf down here and I'm going to trace it. So, give me just a second. This won't be a good job either because I'm trying to do it super fast. But I think you'll get the gist of it. Okay. There's my ivy leaf. So I could write ivy, and then I could even go entire margin. Hang on, I'll show you what I'm doing. And like I said, this is 2 seconds worth of work. I expect yours to be much better. Palmate, Venation, simple leaf. What am I looking for? Oh, lobed shape. See what I did here? I would like yours to be much neater. I mean, really. So, but I did this in less than a minute. I traced my leaf, and that worked. That worked really well. And then I would, of course, try to color it in, make it look nice. Use your best handwriting out here, or type it out. That would be cool. But here's another way. If you can't even trace something or draw some good lines, here's something else I suggest. Lay your leaf down on a hard surface. Can I have a crayon, please? I thought I had one sitting here next to me. As fast as I can, a crayon. A crayon.
I got some crayons.
Can I just have a crayon, dude?
Yeah. Can I use them out?
Yes. I'm going to use orange. My daughter says orange. It's orange. There's an A in that word. Look what I'm doing. I'm kind of peeling. This is art class too. I'm kind of peeling my little crayon. Crud, I can't get it, man. I was thinking this apparently. Oh, looky, there's one already done. I live with children. Of course there's some already done. Okay, so I'm going to flip my book shut. I'm laying the leaf on top of my book, and I'm going to put it down and press, and then I'm going to take my crayon and I'm going to slide it over the top of my leaf. Y'all did this when you were little. I know you did. I like doing these with tombstones because sometimes you can't read the tombstones really well. Okay. Wow. Okay, check this out. Can y'all see that? All I did was put it down flat and then take my crayon and rub it all over the leaf underneath, and it gave this really cool imprint. Then I can take my ink pen and write, guys, zip it. You ever heard me say that? Simple, what is it? Leaf, good Lord. Simple leaf, entire margin, palmate, Venation. Get it? See what I've done here? That's it. Oh, and ivy at the top. Okay. Now, once you have, I'd say that you will have at least about 20 leaves, because you want to get an example of each one of them. So even if you have an entire margin, you may not have that shape. So you may repeat margin over and over again, or but you need to make sure that you have each of these covered, each one of them. So you're going to have at least 20, okay? Once you're finished, let's say these are two different kinds of, leaves. You can put them together in order or however you want to do it. You can put them in a pretty sketchbook and do it that way and turn in your sketchbook. You can punch holes in the side and put it in a nice folder, but I do not want to be handed 22 pieces of loose paper. This is a project. I want it to be turned in like a project, okay? No 22 pieces. Just go looking in your yard. Go looking at the park. Hey, it's going to be beautiful sometime in the next 3 weeks. The weather's changing. The time is changing. When we come back, the time will have changed. And oh my word, if they put us back the week of a time change, I may go a little nuts. So let's see, because it takes me a little bit to get used to. Time changes on the 14th. So yeah, that looks good. So time changes on the 14th. Please don't wait till the last minute to get these done. Hey, if you want to, start today, start tomorrow, get it over with, but turn it in class on March 29th. Y'all have no idea how excited I am to see you guys. We're going to talk about this project more in class because we got more to go over. But I miss y'all so bad. And I want to, again, say how truly sorry I am that, back in the fall, my father-in-law died and I had to miss a day. And then we were out early because of COVID around the holidays. It got really bad, and so we decided to cut it off at Thanksgiving. And then this whole semester, I've missed more than half of it, and I am so sorry. If I had had a choice, I would have waited, but it was something that I could not wait for. I had to have this surgery done, and it was a lot more extensive than what I thought it was going to be. So I'm feeling better. I am trying to gain some strength so that when I do come to class that I have the energy to jump around and tell y'all about this great creation God has. But I hope that you've learned a lot during the time that we've had our video times together. And I will see y'all on the 22nd. All you have to do is find stuff during this time. There is no homework during these 2 weeks. So I'm not making you do stuff over spring break, but just look for some of these different kinds of leaves. Start your collecting. And I hope y'all have a great holiday. I'll see you soon. Bye.